Welcome to the tight end episode of Week 5, DFS, Superflex, OwnersBox episode. We are Menly Stuff. I'm Sack Daddy here with Sammy Soda. Sammy, you ready to break down the top 5 tight ends?
Tight ends are where you make your money in DFS lineups. They can make or break you. I've seen a lot of heartbreak from the tight end position.
Yeah, it was essential to have TJ Hawkinson in your lineup last week.
Exactly. But it's not always, and that's the thing I struggle with tight ends. It's not always the highest priced guy. You just got to find that good matchup. Finding the end zone is big for tight ends. They don't go over 100 yards very often. Obviously, Hawk did last week, but you got to find that value in them finding the end zone.
Yeah, tight ends I think is kind of all about finding the end zone or just getting targets. The guys with the most targets tend to do better. But before we get started, you got any honorable mentions before we hit to the top 5?
Name that I really liked this week that just couldn't crack the list is Gerald Everett. He's getting a lot of targets for the Chargers now. I know Parham, they're talking about Parham being back potentially this week, next week, in the near future. So I know that's going to change the outlook on Everett. And I know everyone thinks about that moment. He quit on the goal line when the guy could have scored a touchdown. But he's a target machine. He could find the end zone easily. I like that one, just couldn't quite crack the top 5.
Yeah, I just want to bring up. I know this guy I've ragged on forever because he's like a fantasy killer, but if Jameis Winston is out again this week, look to get Taysom Hill in at least one of your lineups. Just mix him in. I don't know if you watched the game in London last week, but they work him in around the goal line. They get him involved. He's listed as a tight end, but they put him at running back. They'll put him out at receiver. And he's only 4,100 on OwnersBox, so he's something that you could look into.
That pick is disgusting.
I'm ready for the top 5.
Can't stand it, but you might be right. It's worth looking into.
This is worth a look.
I just hate when he's the guy that ruins all your fantasy lineups.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Super annoying.
At least they put him at tight end. When he used to be at quarterback and you'd face people like in head-to-heads that would have him in their lineup and he would end up scoring a touchdown, you'd just be so mad.
Oh, yeah.
At least he's at tight end now. All right. Top 5. At number 5, a guy that Adam has been in love with all season long, but has just underperformed with an average of 6.3 fantasy points per week. And he still made our top 5. Kyle Pitts. Adam, I'm going to let you start this one off because I know you've been big on him all year.
Yeah, well, this is a guy we got to keep an eye on injury-wise. I know we sat out of practice today. We're recording this on Wednesday. But he's only got one red zone target. He's just not getting the looks yet, but he will. He's so due, Sam. He's beyond due. He's only 4,700 on OwnersBox. He's a guy that you have to get into your lineup. I think they're going to be forced to pass the ball. I think they're going to get down early to Tampa, and they're going to be forced to pass the ball. And I think Kyle Pitts is going to be heavily involved in that passing game. So that's why we have him at number 5 this week.
You know, the thing is, too, Arthur Smith has always loved his tight ends. If you go back to his days in Tennessee, he has always loved his tight ends, getting them involved in unique ways. I get the underperformance, but he is gonna find the end zone, and you don't want to miss the week that he goes for 100 yards and finds the end zone. And this could be the week.
This could be it.
All right, at number 4, guy for my very own Cleveland Browns, David Njoku.
Njoku.
Yeah, close enough.
Guy's good with names.
What are your thoughts on this play?
Well, I mean, I like the targets he's been getting. 10-7 in his last 2 games. So I think they'll go to him, especially playing the Chargers. I think they might be playing from behind. Like we said, they're not going to script out Chubb, but I think Njoku could be heavily involved in this game.
Absolutely. For the offense they run, he's going to be on. I just cannot say his last name. I was going to say it there. I just cannot say it. But
Njoku.
He's going to be on the field a lot. He seems to be getting that chemistry with Jacoby. He's a good play. Unless Amari's going to have a huge week, David N is going to have a big week. Can't do it. Now you put me on the spot, dude. But number 3, I'm going to have no problem saying number 3's name. At number 3, we got Tyler Higbee. And I'm just going to start by saying Stafford doesn't want to throw the ball to anybody but Kupp or Higbee. So it really doesn't matter. This is just a fantastic play.
Yeah, it sure seems that way. I know they talked about how they want to get Allen Robinson more involved. There's some swirling rumors that they're going to bring back OBJ, but for now, Higbee and Kupp are the dudes. Kupp's getting a lot of the red zone targets. Looks like Higbee's gotten 3 through 4 games, which we don't love for a tight end. But, I mean, he has 2 games with double-digit targets, which you don't find much with the tight end. So I think Higbee's a great play.
Do you think part of his value as far as a play goes is the fact that Kupp is going to be matched up with Diggs most of the game?
Diggs is terrible, so no. I think he's a horrible corner.
You don't think
Diggs burns so much?
He'll probably have a pick 6 on Stafford, though, don't you think?
Yeah, he'll get a pick 6 every once in a while, like during the season, but he gets burned so much. I think Kupp eats. I'm not worried about Diggs at all.
Okay.
I think he's bad.
Well, when we get to our top 5 receivers, then Kupp might just be in there, huh?
Yeah. Little teaser.
All right. Number 2. So this one, really number 1 and 2, we kind of looked at value in the game situation they were in. And they put a little ice by his name. That's because he got 0 fantasy points last game. All right,
yeah, 3 targets, no catches.
You have to explain why we like this play to the people.
Yeah.
0 fantasy points. Give them a reason to like it.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz, I mean, he just came back from injury. He was playing with Cooper Rush. He hasn't really played with Cooper Rush. I think they're going to work to get him even more involved this week. And CeeDee Lamb is going to be matched up against Jalen Ramsey. There's a good chance that he gets just absolutely clamped, and they're going to have to look to someone else. You know, Gallup's back, but I think Dalton Schultz might be the guy that they look to rather than trying to get Gallup. So Dalton Schultz at only 4,500, you know, that's the same price as like Conklin. He's only 100 more than Irv Smith. I think Dalton Schultz could be a great play this week.
Couldn't agree more. You got to take out last week. You cannot factor last week into the equation. He's coming back from injury. Gallup's coming back from injury. They were up most of the game. This game could be vice versa. They could be playing a little bit behind. It could even turn into a little bit of shootout. For the value and the amount of people that probably aren't going to play him until they see what he can do off injury, love this play.
Yeah, that's the thing. Someone's got to do it. People are going to be heavy on Hawkinson with the big week he had last week. Maybe even like Will Dissly because he scored a touchdown. They'll be looking at players that did well last week. You just gotta throw the dart at Dalton Schultz and hope it hits.
And for 4,200, 1 touchdown, 6 catches, he's got it. It'll pay off. But number 1, this was not a guy I had on my original list. But after talking to Sack Daddy more about this is a no-brainer, number 1 tight end play this week, and it's Zach Ertz. Absolutely love this play by you, Adam. You moved him up to my number one real quick. Just no questions asked on this one.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he leads the tight end position in targets in the red zone, if I'm not mistaken. So that already makes him a great play. Just like we said with Schultz, Marquise Brown is going to be going up against Darius Slay. Darius Slay has been clamping receivers all season, so I think that they're going to look to Zach Ertz. And another guy that's had double-digit targets in 2 weeks. And what is he priced at? 4,500?
Yeah, I think it was 49.
Oh, okay, so 4,900 for a guy that could possibly see double-digit targets, and I assume will. This is a guy that you're gonna want to have in quite a few lineups.
And like you said, the thing that quickly, he wasn't on my original list, but as soon as we started talking about it, and actually you start thinking about the game, Hollywood Brown is gonna get targets, but Darius Slay has been by far the best cornerback in the NFL this year, and he has been following the number one around all games. So after you kind of talked that through with me, this is a no-brainer. Especially when you look at the fact that, Rondale Moore, A.J. Green, they're still battling injuries. Not sure what you're always going to get out of Greg Dortch. And then I think they just cut their fifth receiver. So they're pretty beat up at the receiver and obviously going to rely on Ertz a lot. So no-brainer, number one play by you here.
Yes, sir. Zach Ertz. Get him into your lineup.
And there you have it, folks. Those are your top 5 tight ends. Zach Daddy, do you remember them good enough to repeat them 5 through 1 for the listeners?
No, you got the list over there. You go ahead.
All right. At 5, we had Kyle Pitts. 4. Adam, can you help me out with number 4?
David Njoku.
Thank you. 3, Tyler Higbee. 2, Dalton Schultz. And 1, Zach Ertz. That is your top 5 tight ends for the week. Find your value there. Go make some money.
Yes, sir. This is over on OwnersBox, and you can log in. If you haven't joined OwnersBox yet, use the link down in the description. Use code MenlyStuff when you sign up. That is the best way to play DFS. No kickers, no defense, just offense, just scoring. You can squeeze Zach Ertz and Kyle Pitts into your lineup. It's as good as it gets.
Let's go.
Stay manly, everybody.